I want to welcome everyone to the SAM coffee break. We're doing a different kind of coffee break today. You know, we started these coffee breaks way back when the pandemic hit, and we wanted to feature different professional developers from around the country. So we thought people would enjoy that and appreciate it. And it really worked well. We kind of changed up today though, because many of you are setting up your TimeTrack calendars for the first time for the new year. And we wanted to show you some of the options that you have in terms of being able to use your TimeTrack effectively. And so I'm going to show you some things that you can do within TimeTrack in terms of setting up your TimeTrack effectively. Before we do that though, let me put up a TimeTrack. There we go. And talk with you about a couple things. First, it's important to think about purpose, and the purpose of a TimeTrack is so you have a plan for the day. And having a plan for the day is kind of important because otherwise, can you really be as effective without one? When the pandemic hit, we had a lot of people quit planning and they said, oh, there's just too much to do. But it's important that you have a plan for the day, and that's what your TimeTrack is, because that does make you more effective. It also allows you a better chance of improving teaching and learning. When you set up your TimeTrack for the new year, it's also important to think about, have I thought about whether or not all the days I'm counting are the ones I wish to count? Right now, we're looking at a principal's TimeTrack who's given me permission to share with you, and this is Shane Christensen. Shane's TimeTrack is showing that he is not working right now. That's because he doesn't start his school year in terms of working until the end of the month. A good SAM is going to start the process by going to the orange TimeTrack logo in the upper left-hand corner. See it there? And they click, and they go to Settings, and they go down to Contact Day Setup. You want to tell TimeTrack what days you'd wish to count. So you can see right now, Shane has already done this part. He's decided he wants to start counting the days he's working on the 26th of August. A good SAM is going to toggle back 1 month and see, if we accidentally are counting July, and right now we are. To fix this, I simply click Clear All, and it changes all those days to gray, meaning we're not counting them. Then I click Set in Advance, and I look at August to see if it is correct. It is. It's showing the days Shane wants to count. Then I click Set in Advance, and I do the same thing with every month of the school year. So you can see that Shane has listed September 7th, Labor Day, as the day he is not counting. I go to October, I see the 12th of October he's not counting. I can change that if I wish, but the idea here is you want to let TimeTrack know what days you're counting. So I'm going to exit that first piece and go to the next thing I'd like to show you in terms of TimeTrack. If you look at Shane's dashboard, you'll see that there's no data yet for the new school year. If I go to his last school year by going to the options menu and then click Apply, I'm able to see that this is a high-performing SAM team. This team scheduled anywhere from 40% to 60% of their day instructionally throughout the school year. This team ended up averaging 64% of their time instructionally engaged last year. If you look though at March, when the pandemic hit, you can see that this team quit doing TimeTrack in April and May. Oftentimes, when you have a high-performing team, they kind of forget that you also want to schedule the management time, because that's why they quit doing TimeTrack. They thought, oh, I have too much management. So the question becomes, could I schedule my management and then have some space to schedule instructional time? You have permission to lower your goal, and this principal could have lowered his goal Instead of being at 50, 60%, he could have lowered his instructional goal to 20 or 30% and then slowly increased again, like he did when he first started SAMS. So how would he do that? Well, you'd go to your TimeTrack logo, and for the new year, you'd go to settings, and then you'd go to monthly goal setup. Instead of setting a goal for August of 2020 at 40%, I might start out with a much lower goal, maybe 25%. On my TimeTrack calendar, I would say to my principal, what do you need to do in management? And I would really fill up my calendar with the management things that are pressing my principal so hard due to the pandemic and due to having to do school a little bit differently. I would want to give my principal the permission to manage the management so he or she can do the instructional work. I don't want my principal to quit planning. I want my principal to be able to have a schedule for the day and feel comfortable that that's okay. I'm going to get the management done, but I'm going to then have some time to do instructional work. And so the next step in TimeTrack and refreshing your TimeTrack is to make sure that you've set a reasonable goal for each month. So I go through here and I might say 25% for the first month, 27% for the second month, 30% for the third month. Now these goals are far lower than what this principal has been doing in the past. That's okay. Because the bottom line is you want to be in the green on your first day back and every day after. You want to make sure you're scheduling some instructional work, but you want the goal to be a reasonable goal. People who keep saying, I want to go back to normal, are forgetting that this is normal now. And this new normal we're dealing with is going to continue to revise and change a little bit as we go forward, but we're likely never going back to what we remember normal as being. Things like using remote instruction, pieces of it will continue, and parts of it are better and good. Doesn't mean that we'll never go back to having kids in regular schools and being close to people and being able to touch them on the back and saying, good job, and not having to wear a mask all the time. But in order to be successful, you have to focus on what can I control and do what you can and enjoy it and make sure you have a plan. So the second piece is going in and setting reasonable goals. Now I would suggest to you as a SAM, if you're watching, or as a principal, go into your TimeTrack, click the settings menu, go to monthly goal setup, and pick goals for the new year that are comfortable for you right now in this new normal we are experiencing. And then slowly stair-step up to where you're comfortable with what you're doing. If you do that, I think you're going to find you're going to be far more successful and you'll be more comfortable with what you're doing. So the next thing you want to think about when you're doing your TimeTrack for the new year is, have you put in all the people who you need to track your time with? Now, we all know that when you're entering an event, you set associations, meaning you associate the event with people. Well, what if Brian moved? What if he retired? You want to go in and make sure that you have taken off the people who are no longer on your staff and you've added in the people who are. How do I do that? Well, that settings menu is where you want to go again. I'm going to go up to that orange logo in the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to click it. I'm going to go to settings, and now I'm going to go down to individual group setup. As a SAM or as a principal, the very best thing you can do is go through here and go to each one and see if this person is still a part of your staff. If they're not part of your staff, let's say that Blake Beck has left, all you have to do is click the deactivate button. If you have someone new on your staff, you want to add them in. So first step, go through the entire list and remove people who have left. Second step, go ahead and add in the new people. And so if you have a new person who's joined your staff, let's say it's Joey Stevens, you just type in their name in the two pieces, put in their email address before the @ sign or use a different email address, and then simply click add. The third thing you want to think about when you are working and looking at your staff list, people you're going to associate events with, is who have you identified as the focus teachers. A focus person is someone the principal says they want to spend more time with this school year. That might be your new teachers. It might be a teacher that is really doing well and you want to really work more with them so they can continue that upward progression. It might be all of the teachers you're concerned about in your building. But a group of focus teachers are people that you will get reminded about if you click the button there for focus that you want to spend more time with. So first step, go through your list, see who you have to remove. Second step, go ahead and add in the additional people you'd like. Third step, go ahead and say who the focus teachers are. See that place where it says birthday? This particular principal doesn't enter in birthdays. If you enter in the staff member's birthday, TimeTrack will remind you and let you know when it's the person's birthday, so you can go ahead and tell them congratulations, have a good day. That's kind of low-hanging fruit, but it's real important low-hanging fruit. You really want to take advantage of that opportunity to build a relationship, improve your relationship with the people you need to supervise and work with. The next thing I wanted to mention to you on associations is groups. If you change these individuals, it will automatically take them out of a group if they were assigned. But you better look at your groups by clicking the group tab and see if you still have the right people in the right groups. You can do that by selecting the group and then click populate the group. This will allow you to see who is currently in the group. They'll have a blue check mark. And then you can also add in additional people. Let's put me in there, or Mark Bills. There we go. I can go ahead and add him if I wanted. So go ahead and check each of your groups. If you wish to create a new group, like new teachers, you can do that. You simply type it in, click the word add, and then populate the group. So a number of things you can do when you wish to add a person to your groups, or if you wish to associate with someone else. Now, there is a shortcut in adding someone without having to go to the setting menu. When you're setting up and refreshing your TimeTrack for the new year, what I just showed you makes the most sense. But let's say you're starting an event and you wish to associate it, and you say, oh, Carol Merritt is going to be joining me. I don't have her in my thing, I don't think. Nope, she doesn't come up. So I can instead click this button, add individual, right in the event entry box. And I can put in her first name, Carol, last name, Merritt. I can put in her email address, cjmerritt@twc.com. I can put in her birthday, 8/17, and I can put in the custom box. I can put in her spouse's name, which is me, Mark. By doing that, I can add her right in, and she will be now a person I can associate events with. Next thing I wanted to talk with you about in terms of things you can do are presets. You're going to want to look to see if your presets are still correct. Some of you in hybrid instruction changed your schedules. And so if you did, you're going to want to look at your presets. A preset, of course, is where you've gone in and said second period has a particular time frame, 9:08 to 9:52, for example. Or third period lunch, click apply. It'll change the time for you quickly. Doing a preset is easy to do. You go to the TimeTrack logo, you go to settings, you go to general options. Do two things while you're here. The first is make sure your start time and end time is still right. Let's say you're delivering all instruction remotely this year. That may have changed when your principal is starting their day and also when they're ending. The presets you can see right here below. I can change a preset by clicking in the box and simply typing in the new time I wish to use. To add a new preset, I go to the bottom and I simply type in the preset name, the start time, the end time, and then click Save. Presets can be of great value. I would encourage you to look at presets as a possibility. Next thing I wanted to mention to you are optional descriptors. Many of you, when you are looking at a hybrid environment or a remote environment completely, have probably already figured out that your descriptors don't change. Your descriptors stay the same. There isn't a descriptor I can't do in a remote environment, but I may wish to track some of the new things I'm doing. So I might want to track all the time I spend in Zoom or in Google Meet. I can go and create an optional descriptor simply by coming here. Then when I'm entering an event, I can say what the category is, instruction. I can pick the descriptor, observation. And then I can pick the optional descriptor, Zoom. What this will do will give me a separate chart that will show me all the time that I work in that Zoom environment, if I wish. Next thing I'd like to show you is not in TimeTrack, but it will be in, see if I can click my link here. Here we go. This is a really good tool for SAM teams to use because it's showing you the all the descriptors we use in instruction, but it's showing them in groups. A moment ago, I mentioned that, I mentioned that you can, in a remote environment, do any of the instructional work that you would do person to person. For example, in seeing instruction, principal can still do a walkthrough, but instead now he is walking through from Zoom meeting to Zoom meeting. The feedback can still occur. It can be directive, non-directive, or celebratory, but you're going to be doing it in a remote environment. So when your principal has time in their schedule, you've scheduled all the management work they must do in their new normal. You then schedule the instructional work, but don't allow the fact that we're in a different environment, whether it be a hybrid, traditional school, or remote, to keep you from doing some of the good work you really want to do. After the session today, we're going to give you links so you can go right to this particular document. This document can be very useful when the SAM is meeting with the principal during the daily meeting. I want to go back now to TimeTrack if we could. I'm going to go to a different TimeTrack. This is another principal, this one in Bibb County, Georgia, who gave permission to share his calendar. This is a high-performing SAM team. They do really well. They do really well, and they have for years. This principal has elected to keep his goal really high, and that's okay. Just because I recommend that you want to lower your goal, you don't have to. I want to show you how to clone an event. We're going to make his day Tuesday, August 4th, just temporarily a contact day. See the little button in the upper right-hand corner of the Welcome Back PowerPoint session he did? If I click that, it creates an exact copy of what he did, the same event. I do this because then I can put my cursor on the left-hand side of it, click it, and pull it over, and move it, and I've copied the event and put it on a different day. I can also do this by clicking the event once, and I get an icon in the right-hand corner there at the bottom to make a copy, and I'm able to do the same thing. I can delete the event by using the trash can, or I could double-click the event and click delete. Many SAM principals have a SAM who every day makes a schedule that they go ahead and post in the staff room or elsewhere. So let's go ahead and try that for this principal. I open to the single day view. I click the printer and I click print. This gives me then a single day view of what the principal is doing. Many SAM principals and SAMs will go ahead and put this in the staff room so people can see it, and it's easy for people to get to. One more thing before we go to questions. I want to go back to my TimeTrack calendar if I can. There we go. I'm going to go back to the 5-day view. And I want to show you something that a lot of people overlook in TimeTrack. I'm going to open up this event that this principal did Monday. You can see he's associated it with 2 people. Mrs. English and Mrs. Gogans. These are live links once that they've been associated. If I click the link, it gives me a shortcut so I can see what time this principal has spent with this teacher so far this school year. Now, this principal's only been working a couple of days this school year, so there's not a lot here yet. So let's click the options button and say, show me the time this principal spent with this teacher. Let's do last school year, 2019, 2020. So this is a very quick way, instead of having to go to your dashboard and finding the information about the teacher, you can go right to the data that we have for the principal's time spent with this teacher with a single click. So this is our first 20 minutes, and it went so fast. I'm so sorry. I wanted to do more, but I wanted to give you an overview of the things you want to do to make sure your principal can be successful this year. The thing I'd want to really stress is you want to deal with the stuff you can control. Don't let the stuff you can't control keep you from what you can. Go ahead and schedule the management work. It's okay. In fact, it's a good thing. Schedule the management work first. That way you can manage the management so you can do the instructional work. Set a lower goal to start with and then stair step up. Jim Mercer, do we have questions? Because we're going to switch now to a different format for the next 20 minutes. Jim, do you have any questions that you want to share?
Yes, we've got one that came in asking you to show us how to import your individuals into your TimeTrack.
Jim, would you answer that question for me?
I anticipated that. Could you go ahead and give me a screen sharing?
I will do just that. Jim, it's not letting me do that.
Okay, let me see if I can force it here.
Jim, can you just tell us?
Well, it's going to be a lot easier if I show you. Here you go. Can you see my screen now?
We can. Go right ahead, sir.
Great, great. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is to import your, you can import your individuals from a CSV or Excel sheet. If you've got that information, you can do your first name, last name, email address, birthday, and then one other optional section that you can decide what it is, whether it's you want to keep their employee numbers or what room they're in or what department they're in. You can choose what goes in that last section. The easiest way I have found it, because sometimes CSV or comma separated value files can be kind of finicky, is this is going to kind of seem counterintuitive, but we're going to work backwards. So when you want to go ahead and bring that in, you're going to go to your TimeTrack button. You're going to go to Settings, Individual Group Setup, and you're going to look for the Import Export tab. And this is where it's going to seem weird, but it's going to make sense here in a second. So even though you're wanting to import your names, the first thing you're going to do is export. You're going to export and download your file, and it's going to ask you, it's going to go ahead and download it. You'll see it down here in my corner. The reason for that is when you export this, you're having TimeTrack create a file that is exactly what TimeTrack wants to see. You're not making your own file and trying to force it into TimeTrack. You're bringing a file down to do that. So what you'll do is you'll open up that CSV that you just downloaded, And now you'll see all the people that are in the individuals list if you already had one. So you're going to take your information, you're going to put in your first names, you're going to paste those in, you're going to paste in your last names, paste in your email addresses, and then you're going to save that file. Now, when you go back to TimeTrack, you're going to choose Import. You're going to choose File. And then you're going to find where you saved that file. Where did I save that file? Here it is, Individuals Export under your downloads. You'll choose it. You will upload the file. And it just says, it went ahead and it entered the entries, but it's saying that one of those people was inactive, so it's not going to reactivate them for me.
Jim, this is really helpful. I'm wondering, do we have a video on Sam's Connect that shows how to do just this?
Yes, I believe we do. I can add that into the links that I send out.
I would appreciate that. Give me back the screen, Jim, for just a second.
Okay. I got to go back to my meeting here, and now I've got to figure out where to go to give Mark the screen back.
It should say end screen sharing at the top, Jim, but while Jim's figuring that out, at samsconnect.com, there we go, Jim, thank you. At samsconnect.com, there is a wonderful tool you can use called Sam Tools. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again and see if I can get to the right bar here. There we go. At samsconnect.com, if you go to the link right under Sam, there's a place called NSIP Tools, and then Sam Tools. Then you get a choice of written tools for Sam Teams and then also video tools for Sam Teams. If I go to the video tools, I can find all kinds of things in 6-minute videos. And that's what Jim does, is he creates a short video on how you do something, like he was just demonstrating. And so you can use these, and they are very useful, and they are very instructive. And so as a Sam, if you're not sure how to do something like entering TimeTrack events or using connected events, just go here and you'll find that there's a short video that you can access. There's also written tools for Sam Teams, and these can be really helpful too. So I'd encourage you to take a look. You'll find all the Samtastic weekly tips, and you'll find really helpful things like the Sam Daily Meeting, 7 Elements. You'll find these tools, they're easy to access, and we'd encourage you to use them. Jim, did we have anybody who wanted to ask a question out loud?
I don't see anyone with their hand up in the chat. If anybody does have a question they'd like to ask, if you could put your if you could use the raise hand option in the chat, and we can call on you.
And Jim, do you have any other written questions that came through the chat?
Nope, I do not. One thing I did want to interject, where you just showed them the video team or tools for Sam Teams, a few minutes ago in the chat at about 11:21, I actually posted a link to that because someone was asking. So there's already a direct link in the chat now if you all want to go visit it, and instead of waiting for the email that has that link there. So
thank you, Jim. A couple other things I want to stress as we finish up in just a few minutes. And Jim, interrupt me if you have a question or someone who wants to say something, because we want to honor the people who are with us right now.
Okay, well, Hyatt Woods is asking if there is if there's a way to have alerts from the SAM calendar or that sort of thing, so we could probably answer where we are working on that. Or yes,
actually there is. If I go to SAM Tools and I go to Video Tools for SAM Teams, you're going to see right here, there's going to be an option of adding TimeTrack alerts to your smartphone or your smartwatch. If you click this button, you will see a short video that Jim created. And so we'll start it here. And I'll stop right there because it's a 6-minute video that takes you step by step how to do just what you're asking. Jim, any other questions that people asked?
Nothing has come up.
Okay, I want to go back then again to the website because there are other tools that you can use here that you might not be aware of. If I go to SAM Media, I can go down to SAM Coffee Breaks, and here I have archived all the coffee breaks we've done this school year. Shauna and Stephanie did a great coffee break on parent engagement. In fact, it actually has led to the school district in Lansing, Michigan, to adopt the idea. And so they're doing it as a result of their coffee break. But you see, there's a lot of resources that are attached here that you can use. Kim Marshall was kind enough to share a chapter of his newest book that has really good ideas of how to engage parents differently. So this is something you can go to, and the links are there, so it's easy for you to get to the things you want. Other things on the website that you may find helpful is listed under SAM Media, Conference and Workshop Materials. Here I can find HD video for all kinds of folks from all over the world who have been presenters at national conferences. And so I can pick something like The Power of Positive Leadership with John Gordon, and it will be an HD video. They're easy to use, easy to access, and many SAM principals use them in professional development sessions. And again, we're not going to show you that entire video, but we wanted you to be able to see that that's something you can access. Jim, any other questions or comments before we finish up today?
Laura's asking about getting the alerts to work on an Android phone. That's probably a little outside the scope of this session, but I can get with you, Laura, and we can try to work that out for you. Other than that, mainly just thank yous and that sort of thing.
All righty. Well, to finish up, a couple things I wanted to share with you. Many principals and many school leaders, superintendents, assistant principals doing SAMs, when the pandemic hit, said, can't do SAMs anymore. And the question you have to ask yourself is, are you more effective with a plan or without? And the truth is, we're all more effective with a plan. If in your head you say, I'm going to go through this and do the things I can control, I'm going to go ahead and have a plan every day, even if it's mostly management, it will allow you then the freedom to begin adding in some instructional work. One principal told me the other day that that's exactly what he did. He went in and he scheduled all his management work, and then he had some smaller pieces of time that he was able to do instructional work. And you know what he decided to do? He decided to do instructional wellness conversations using Zoom with every one of his teachers. And in these conversations, he made them non-directive. He didn't want to tell anyone anything, but he wanted to ask people how they were feeling. He said it improved the culture, and your school culture exists whether you're in school or not. If you're doing remote, hybrid, or traditional instruction, culture's the key, isn't it? He said those conversations, those instructional wellness conversations, were the healthiest thing he's ever done. He said it really turned the corner for him in terms of working with his staff. So it's a new normal. Enjoy it. Take the pieces you can control and then move forward there. Make sure you have a plan. That's your time track. It's fine if your goal is lower than it's been in the past. Don't be bothered by that. Schedule your management and then schedule the instructional work and begin stair-stepping up slowly. Pat yourself on the back. It's part of that daily meeting. What did I achieve today? What can I feel good about today? What I feel good about today is that they have you. The kids in your school community, the staff in your schools have you to help them be better every day. It's an enormous task, but the truth is it's an enormous task whether we're in the middle of a pandemic or if it's just a regular school year we all fondly remember. It's an enormous task because by definition, it can never be finished. You know that when you're working in a school situation, there's always more you can do. one of the big values in TimeTrack is it gives you an anchor. It gives you a way of looking at what work have I done, and you can turn and look and say, that felt good. I got some work done. I'm a little bit better today than I was before. Take advantage of that and move forward. Use these tools as they were designed to allow you to be even a more effective leader than you already are. Hey, I'm so proud of the work you do, and I know all the time change coaches are and the implementation specialists, and I know your families and your teachers and your support staff and your students are proud of you. Enjoy the coming time. Don't look at it with dread. Instead, enjoy what you're going to be doing because you're doing something that will outlive you. You're doing something that makes a difference for all the people around you. It was really fun being able to be with you today. Jim has made a recording of this, and he's going to send that recording out to you so you can use it, as well as a lot of links. Make sure you're in the green for today. If you're not in the green for today, now's the time to do it. Make sure that you're in the green for tomorrow. Make sure you start every day in the green. Thanks, everyone. Enjoyed being with you today.